So I think one of the questions I had was I just wondered what your first memory was as a child, sort of almost your very first memory.
We did travel to Scotland quite a lot. I can remember getting on boats, but I can't remember where, small boats, and going to tiny little islands where there was puffins and seals. I think I was probably about 5 years old. For some reason I remembered that, I don't know why, but I think that was probably one of my first memories of travelling about.
And did you go to school in Scotland then?
No, not at all. No, my first school was up in Hertford.
Oh.
Hertford Heath, little junior school there.
What do you remember from the sort of school days then of Hertford?
I was quite happy there. I liked the little school up at Hertford Heath because where we lived at Gamels, there was families, about 4 or 5 families, and they all had children of the same sort of age. So they used to take us in turns to go, and then when I got a little bit older I used to cycle up there and back again. So no, I was happy there. I liked it. It's good.
What sort of early memories do you have of Hertford? Because I guess it's changed quite a lot since.
Yes. I mean, Gallows Hill, they built roads all around it now. But I remember when Mum and Dad first moved to Gamels, we had no car. So we used to walk down Gamels Hill and get the shopping from all sorts of different little shops. There was no supermarkets. There was a butcher's, a baker's, and everything there. And then we used to walk back up this hill to home.
So your earliest memories are of that time, really, of the school and so on.
Yeah, and then in Cornwall, when Dad got that, he didn't buy the cottage. We used to travel to Cornwall, and he found this, it looked like it was almost a derelict cottage down right near Land's End. And I can remember that because we found out who owned it. It was Lord St Leven, and he let my parents actually rent it out. So we used to go down there for the summer. And I even went to the school just up the hill. They used to take me out of school and then put me in. I don't know. A lot of my school friends weren't very happy about that. And she's been taken this, there, and other ones. And obviously, when they went abroad, they used to take me out of school, and I wasn't very popular with that.
The school kind of like continuity, don't they?
But the little school down in the Bottoms, where Mum and Dad had the cottage, was really nice. I loved it there. And I got really very well on with the headmistress. For some extraordinary reason, she seemed to like me. I used to trundle up there after school and have a cup of tea with her.
Oh, right, yeah.
Why, I don't know. That was probably about 11 or 12 then. I mean, I liked art, but it just didn't particularly appeal to me. I mean, the thing that I did take up in the end was hairdressing.
Oh, right, okay,
so
yeah.
That, I suppose it's sort of artistic.
Yes, it wasn't more practical though. Probably more practical.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in terms of then of your slightly later childhood, did you go to secondary school in Hertford as well?
No, I went to Welwyn Garden City. That was a private school.
Oh, okay, right.
Which I didn't really enjoy at all. It was too academic. I don't know. I'm not academic, but I'm not artistic as such when it comes to drawing and doing that sort of thing. Dressmaking I used to quite like. So there are sort of slight artistic things, but nothing like what both my parents, they were very much artistic.
Yes,
because they kind of lost it on the way somewhere.
Yes, I think your mum had a lot of talent as well.
She did, yes, because she used to draw and I should make pottery and all that sort of stuff. So, they both had the same interest. Well, they met at Edinburgh College of Art.
Right. What sort of age were they when they met then? They
must have been in their early 20s, I guess.
Oh, right. So would have that been in the mid-1940s, something like that?
Yes, it must have been,
Right, yeah.
Because her dad got some sort of scholarship to travel to Italy and Europe, mainly.
Yeah.
And that's where he met Peggy Guggenheim, was in Venice.
Right,
and that's how it all started up. She recommended to the Gampels. She said, I've met this artist. And she said, I think he's got a lot of potential, and that's how he got involved with the Gampels.
And without that, what would a family of life have been?
I don't know, it's strange really. I mean, my parents always took me everywhere, basically.
Yes, yeah.
And also, because I was an only child, when we used to go to Cornwall on holidays, they would always ask me if I wanted a school friend to come with me, so I never was left like sort of, you're coming with us and you're not having anybody.
Right.
There were people that came to visit, and then when we were in the cottage in the summer, people that I'd known from school, because once again we were in Leeds from I was 8 8
Oh.
years old for a couple of years. So
Yeah.
I knew people from there as well.
Right.
So
yeah.
it's very varied, actually, looking back on it.
So yes, quite a lot of different experiences,
Yes, exactly,
I guess, which is interesting. Yeah, and yeah. So, I mean, I guess one of the questions that I did have is what impact you felt his fame had on the family and family life, but maybe he was famous before you got into early childhood. I don't know.
No, I think I was probably. I don't know. I know he won a prize in San Paolo, but I can't remember what year that was. And then they went to Venice for some opening or other, but I can only have been about 8 or 9, I would have thought.
Right, but that would have
I
still
didn't
been
really
primary.
realise that it didn't impact on me that he was becoming a famous artist. He was just my dad, because people used to ask me, what's it like having a father that's a famous artist?
Right.
I said, he's just my father. I don't think about it.
Yeah.
And the only time I really realised it was when we went to, I think it was Edinburgh or Glasgow, I can't remember which, but they had a big retrospective exhibition there, and my father did a speech, and I couldn't believe that was my father talking. It was unbelievable. He was just so interesting. Everybody was like listening to him, and then afterwards they say, oh, you know, what's it like having a famous father? I said, it's not, he's just my dad.
And,
I mean, he was pretty shy, really, my dad, until he started to give lectures and talk. I mean, he taught in the Royal College of Art, I think, one of the art schools.
Central St Martin's, perhaps.
That's it, Central School.
Yeah. So in that sense, he overcame his shyness, perhaps,
I guess,
in order.
or that he just must have enjoyed it, I guess.
I suppose if he was so in
He
love
loved
with
to
the
talk
subject.
about that sort of subject.
Yeah.
I mean, he'd talk about gliding, he'd talk about sailing,
Right.
he'd talk about the art. He was used to write poetry.
Mm.
You know, he was unbelievably talented. I mean, just none of it's rubbed up on me.
From your experience, I mean, how did he go about his work? How did he?
He worked practically every day. If we weren't away, he was in the studio. He got up, had breakfast, and then was down in the studio, and then he'd come up for
every
lunch.
hour of every day, or what
Not
sort of
every
time?
hour. It just all depended really what he felt like. But I used to say to him, "How, you know, what makes you paint?"
Yeah.
And he said, I don't know. He said, I've just got this impulse and I'll have to go down there. He said, I've got no idea what I'm going to do. I've just got my brushes and my paint pots and I just start. And I just couldn't, it just, to me, there was no sort of working out what he was going to do. He just did it. And he said, I have to do it. I can't not. And obviously, if he was away, well, they went away. Or they were going up to London or whatever, obviously he didn't paint them. But if he was at home, and in the cottage as well, down in Cornwall, he had a studio, and in St Lucia as well. And that was the other place that we.
Yeah. So, what's your memories of the Caribbean?
I was, by that time, I was in my 20s.
That was a bit later then.
Much later.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, he knew architects that were working over there, and they invited Mum and Dad. They invited them over, and Dad fell in love with the island.
Oh,
and,
right.
They designed a house for him, and that's when he had that. So they spent the winter there, and then the summer at Gowls.
Do you think his work was very strongly influenced by the place and the Caribbean?
Because he had even used to draw small houses and palm trees and little scenes that almost abstract, not completely realistic, but and lots of palm trees. I think wherever he was, I mean, Cornwall obviously influenced him quite a lot there. Yeah. The sort of stone, you know, the old stone hedges and that sort of stuff. I think he was quite interested in that sort of side of things. I mean, he was quite interested in religion, but not religious, if you know what I mean. Buddhism,
more the phenomenon of religion.
Buddhism, he was quite interested in, but I don't think he was actually sort of, I am a Buddhist, or I am whatever.
The label.
No label. I think he was just interested in certain aspects of different ways of religions, basically.
Yes.
I mean, he never encouraged me to be anything or other. Yes. They were pretty lenient about what I wanted to do. I mean, I did a modelling course. I fancied that. That just gave me a bit more sort of confidence in myself. And then there was a hairdresser in Hertford that I used to go to have my hair done. Yeah. And
when was that? What sort of age?
That was when I was probably about 13, 14, maybe 15.
Okay, yeah.
And
so secondary school type age. Yeah.
And he was very interested in doing competitions, and he asked my parents if he could use me. So, and then gradually I got very interested in hairdressing, and that's when I thought I want to be a hairdresser. So I went to hairdressing college in London.
Oh, yeah.
I had a few hairdressing jobs, but I didn't carry it on, I'm afraid.
Yeah. And what did your father think of that? Did he have
No,
any?
he didn't.
He just let you do your own thing.
If I decided that I would like to do it, then I think they were pretty lenient, obviously.
Yeah.
I must have had a fairly easy childhood, I think, compared with probably what a lot of people.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in terms of the places that you think had an impact on him, what you mentioned Hertford and Cornwall. What sort of impact on the imagery do you think might have had on his work being in these places, or is it kind of all from an instinctive inner?
I don't know. I think
sense?
It was just from everything. He used to read a lot of books and look at images in books, or if he took images from the places he visited. I think I don't know. He just sort of lots of images obviously went through his head. As I say, when he got to the 60s and 70s, it got more complicated. All these shapes and things. So why? I mean, for somebody to go from being completely abstract,
yes,
and then to suddenly start doing, I don't know what would have caused that. What if it's something to do with religious symbols? Some of them, I don't know.
Out of the images, you've got quite wonderful images around here in the room. I mean, which images do you find appeal most to you, or what
60s and 70s? I really like these complicated pictures. I mean, these two up here, they're Dad's paintings. So I mean, that's not abstract at all. And that one is abstract, but those are 1930s, 1940s.
They're much darker.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. A lot of the paintings were darker.
Yeah.
And a lot of the paintings he did at, obviously when he was in college, were still lifes and not abstract. I don't know when. I think he started the abstract when he had that place when he went to Europe, and he started to divert from there.
Right. But there are some recurring images, like this almost little dog.
Yeah, that's right. No, he
image.
does, and there's these triangles and circles and semicircles and arches. There's quite a lot of the painting, and then little animals as well. There's like a dog in that one. He puts quite a few of those in. But, those are probably my favourite period, I think, 70s, 60s, 70s.
And as it progressed in his later years, how do you feel his work changed, or did he just carry on with the same?
I don't know, it was pretty much the same. He got into the fact of doing more intricate painting, I think, rather than abstracty type things. Because when he was young, he used to put the canvases on the floor and he was splashing paint all over the place. And then now he had them hanging. He had about 4 or 5 paintings hanging in the studio, and he would work on them practically at the same time. He'd go from one to the other. I don't think after the 70s he didn't go back to being sort of what I call a complete abstract. Carried on doing the shapes, sort of more intricate stuff. It must have been hours of all these little squares, and sort of he never said, don't disturb me or whatever, but it was just, that was the life I knew, so I didn't really think, I never really used to go in there and question him about what he was doing. It was just at the end of his life, when I used to go and visit him, we used to go, and I'd sometimes say to him, Dad, how do you manage to just keep doing it? He said, I don't know, it's just there. I've got no option. He said, I couldn't not paint, and I said I just couldn't conceive that he had that imagery in his head all the time. I don't know. To me it was just
So do you think it was a kind of compulsion, that, in a sense, or was he sort of in control of it and he knew what he wanted to do? And
I don't know, I think he just had to do it. That's what he used to tell me. He said, I haven't got an option, I have to paint, which is quite extraordinary.